Hello everyone and welcome to another game stuff video. It has been a few months since I last got the video out, so let's get right on to it. Firstly, we'll start with an issue I had with my PlayStation 5 and the controller. I got my PlayStation 5 quite recently. Eventually set it up to play on my birthday back in August, and came across a problem straight away where the PS5 controller was only staying on for a few seconds. Like literally I could just boot up, click login, or press login rather, since it's a controller, and then it will just die. Couldn't find any way around, restarted the console, tried to power back up the controller, tried USB cable, plugged in, all the basic stuff, and I couldn't find anything. Went onto the web, where I couldn't find anything either. I'm sure there's got to be information out there somewhere, but all I could find after a few minutes of searching was this post on Reddit. So this user Orango Panda has got this Reddit post titled PS5 controller works for a few seconds, plugged in, then stops. And it doesn't matter if it's plugged in or not, it will still die anyway. So yeah, it goes on to say, just got our PS5 home, trying to set it up. Controller stopped working while plugged in. Soft reset the console. Controller works for a few seconds, then stops. Won't connect wirelessly or wired. During one soft reset, I got a repairing console message. During setup, we plugged in an external hard drive, which apparently wasn't properly removed from the PS4. The PS5 repaired that. I got signed in, went to settings to do the data transfer, had to get in the same network as PS4, controller stopped working. The problem persists after resetting controller. Trying multiple USB cables and different ports on a PS5. Does anyone have any advice? And then he went on to edit. I've factory reset the console twice, including once in safe mode. Both times the controller works for a bit, then just stops. Controller is fully charged, the console does not freeze, animations and everything else continue to play. Pretty much the same problem I had, except I didn't have a PS4, so I did not have that part of the problem. But I definitely had a problem with the controller not connecting. And then it's a very small thread. A user here, it is a different user, not the OP. No. You're using the stock USB cable that came with it, right? Was it purchased brand new? And yeah, da-di-da-di-da. Are you connected Wi-Fi or LAN? I had the exact same problem after the last major update. My only solution so far had been to use the LAN cable instead of Wi-Fi. And this was the thing that got me thinking. And I'm very glad for Paint225 for that post. For the whole post altogether, because otherwise I'm not sure I would have figured it out. Maybe eventually, probably eventually. And then somebody else wants on, it's an internet issue affecting the controller, how could that be? Sweet Jesus, it's fucking worked, you legend, thank you. How did you fix it? As per your comment, plugged into the LAN, that's literally it, I had a console reset already, plugged in, LAN before turning the console, it worked, da-da-da-da. Sadly for these people on here, and that's where I hope I can help some people. So it'll share 473. I don't have LAN, just Wi-Fi. Controller works for a second and stops. Only way it works is no Bluetooth. Plugged into the console, blinking blue. This was another cue for me. What's causing it? And then yeah, man, some great software you got there, Sony. I don't know if this was caused by an update though, or if it was there from the start. I've got a feeling this was not there from the start, but I could be wrong. If anybody knows, please do post a comment down below. Somebody else here, same issue. Happened after setting up a new Wi-Fi router. I will try the LAN trick. And then I posted as well, having the same issue here. LAN is not an option, sadly, because I just can't. My setup, it's most of my things are Wi-Fi. And that was, it doesn't say the time, but I posted this and then maybe an hour later or a couple hours later or whatever. And then I found the issue. So between the Bluetooth and being connected via LAN works, Bluetooth will be the issue. So I did a quick search just to find out what the frequency the Bluetooth, the PlayStation 5 controller is, and I found some posts saying that it's 2.4 gigahertz. The connection that I was trying to connect to on a PlayStation 5 was also 2.4 gigahertz. So my solution, I'll read my comment anyway, but to put it bluntly was, thankfully our router at home has got the option. Most new routers these days got the option to use 5G or 2.4, which is I believe 3G really. You can have one or you can have both merged together, or you can have two separate access points. However you do it. Ours is merged together. It used to be two different access points at one point, which actually for some devices was better. But that's fine as long as the console can read it, then you're sorted. So my post went on to say, short version, do not connect to 2.4 gigahertz connections. That is basically it. So if you are using your PS5 with Wi-Fi and you're having this problem, make sure that your PlayStation is connecting to 5G connection, so that the 2.4 or 3, whatever it's called, is left for the Bluetooth on the actual controller. There is a chance that some other, what do we say, not frequency, interference is happening in a room. If you have multiple Wi-Fi devices and things like that, it's quite possible that those are the ones causing interference. I'm not an engineer, so this is what happened to me, but I do know that obviously interference is possible with other devices. Like I've got PS3s, I've got Xboxes, we've all got phones, according to Blizzard. Yeah, so there is always a chance something else might interfere with the connection. However, so what I did for my long version. Okay, here's my 2 cents on issue. After buying a PS5 last week for my birthday, and I get my birthday being able to because of this, after some testing and a couple of safe modes starts to restart settings, I was eventually going on to factory reset, but that's last resort, and I did not, thank God I didn't factory reset it, because that would have done nothing, most probably, and I would just have to run the installation again. I linked this issue to the 2.4 GHz frequency and the polling designed by Sony, definitely. One of the things I tried was shutting down the Bluetooth, and that way I could use the controller plugged in, no issue. However, I immediately found out that the PS5 was no longer finding networks when scanning. So scratched my head a bit, yeah, more than a bit. So I switched Bluetooth back on because it kinda needed, and connecting again to my normal network, on noticing my controller become unresponsive again within a few seconds. This confirmed what I was thinking. Another safe mode start after that, reset settings, skip the network setup. You can probably do it from the other side, but I don't know. You probably have that option there to change the frequency, but I just didn't see it just straight away, so I skipped that. So probably the same way, but I think, yeah, just went into the selective options. So what is it? Customs power, rest options again, manually into the network instead of doing it at the beginning when it pops up when you're setting up the console. Clicked options on a controller, select 5 GHz only. A restart and a shutdown later, and I'm still good, so fingers crossed. You can read the full post on Reddit. Should I link it on? I'll probably link it on a video. And it's that simple, apparently. It's a simple problem with Sony's design, potentially an update that came, when was it, 4 months ago, that caused this problem to appear. I'll be amazed if this problem has been there for 2 years and there's little information out there. But if you're having this problem, try this out. If you are stuck on Wi-Fi and you can't connect, hopefully you do come across this, or if you hear somebody having a problem, you can mention the solution to them. It's all I can say. It's pretty stupid, but this was nearly a month ago and everything is still working fine. So yay! But still, I am pissed off that had to happen in the first place. That should not happen. Come on, it's silly. And even connected to the controller, you should not be using the Bluetooth anymore. If you're using, if you've got the cable connected, why is the Bluetooth still important? What shitty design is that? Then you should just be using the connection. But even that doesn't freaking work, because I don't know if it uses the console, the Bluetooth connection as a verification or something like that. I honestly haven't got a clue. It's just stupid. So hopefully I can help somebody, and if not, well, I tried. And then we move on to what's been happening in the industry over the past 3 months since I last made a video, something like that. Something always nice to see is when companies say no to NFTs, and most recently, or perhaps one of the biggest ones recently, was Mojang. I've got no idea how to pronounce that. Basically, Minecraft has come out and bans anything Minecraft related in the world of NFTs, crypto, and all that crap. Most of us were happy to see it because we are still waiting for the benefit of NFTs. That's the best way that I can put it. So far, we've seen nothing about that. And on the other hand, there are a lot of people out there making millions, ripping off other people's works like that. There were, I don't have the name of the company pulled up, but there was this crypto NFT company out there that's lost a lot of money when Minecraft announced this, and in fact they went as far as saying they were gonna create their own Minecraft game in a blockchain or whatever. Yeah, good luck with that, dudes. Good luck. And moving on from that, so that was some good news there. Happy days. We don't see a lot of it these days. Moving on to The Last of Us Part 1 Remake. This article has a very dumb title in my opinion, but it is the Washington Post. They're not known for liking gamers, as far as I can remember. For disabled gamers, The Last of Us Part 1 Remake is worth $70. It's a really shitty title. As much as I disagree with a $70 price tag on a game, what's the need of having that there? Really? Plus, if people have not played the original Last of Us on a PS3 or the remaster on a PS4, $70 is pretty acceptable for this game. It is worth the $70. It is just a single player, doesn't have the multiplayer included, which is one of the few reasons that I don't believe the game should be priced at $70, and for people that have already played the game should not be spending that money on it. Because no multiplayer and playing a game that you've already played and it's been released 3 times within 10 years, yeah. But if you haven't played any of those games, their remake is worth the $70. Yes, I don't see an argument against that, really. So they own, if you want to read the title, go on, whatever. I don't care. I just pulled up this specific article because of the stupid title that they had. I don't know if they're trying to be funny or whatever. I haven't read the article, nor am I going to read. But overall, yeah, a lot of gamers were annoyed that the price was $70 because it is really not worth it for most of us. There are quite a few issues with it. Yes, the game is better, graphics is better. They used some of the mechanics that were used on a sequel, but it's still not worth $70. Not for me, and not to a lot of people apparently. But I'm sure it's still gonna sell well. I'm sure it's sold well. I haven't checked the sell figures, but I'm sure it's been doing fine. Then we move on to a little voice integration between Microsoft Xbox and Discord. Kinda nice. I did set this up literally yesterday, or maybe a couple of days ago by the time I published this video, but at the time of recording I did set this up yesterday, so maybe I get to play Paladins or whatever else on a Xbox One, and I can use Discord chat. It is a bit of a fiddle to set up, but you need the Xbox app on your phone, and you need obviously Discord on your phone, and basically you connect from your phone to the Discord channel, and then the Discord channel picks up the voice that you've got on a mic on the Xbox One. I set it up, but I haven't actually tested it because I didn't have my Xbox mic actually on, and Discord told me that straight away, that it couldn't pick up any voice. Or was it my phone that told me? Anyway, one of them did notice that, yeah, we're connected, but you haven't got your mic connected on the Xbox. So fine, whatever. But I'm sure I'll be putting that to the test, hopefully soon, maybe even within the next few days. And that is kind of nice. As you can see, that's kind of how it's going to look. You'll get a new tab on your Xbox One or Series S or X. Pretty cool, especially as I've been expecting more of a relationship between Sony and Discord Wasn't expecting much from Microsoft, but it's good to see that Discord is working with both. I think for gamers, that's the way forward. There's enough exclusivity bullshit and stuff like that going on. We really don't need more of that. We need to bring gamers together, not pull them apart. Community tends to fracture itself by itself, so we don't need corporations to be doing that. And then we move on to what's next. Oh yes, for Warcraft fans, the classic WoW is getting Wrath of the Lich King released this month, I think next week, 26 or something like that. I don't play Minecraft, so I don't have much on it, but I know a lot of people still love WoW Classic, and this will be a great addition. As it says here on the article, it's obviously not going to be the same as it was on Classic. You know, technology has advanced and some things will be changed a little bit, but it will still, you know, you won't get a closer feeling to WoW Classic than the WoW Classic service, obviously. And moving on to Evolve, a game that in my opinion probably should never have shut down, a game that I never had the chance to play. And I think this was 2K, is it? Yeah, 2K Games. I'm not a fan of 2K, I'm not a fan of most of these corporations, they're just shit, too greedy. But peer-to-peer servers are back online. They should never have been shut down, they should have always been allowed to exist. I don't know why 2K had to be 2K. So it's a good thing that they did walk that back. And the next thing they should do is just list the game back on Steam. If people want to get the game went free to play anyway. If people want to get the game and play peer-to-peer, what exactly do they have to lose? Can somebody tell me? Because I'm not familiar with these games, online-only games, and how they work. So, you know, maybe they're about to lose something. Honestly, I don't freaking know. But it's good to see the community, even obviously the small community that exists, because I'd imagine if it is big, it will... the game wouldn't have been shut down. Then again, you never know. It's nice to see them happy and be able to access the product that some of them once bought, because this game was paid for originally. It was only later that it became free to play. So I'm very happy for them. I just wish that it never was shut down in the first place, or, you know, bring it back, something like that. But this is definitely nice. It's nice to see, especially from 2K. They don't tend to go back and change something for the better. So the fact that they did somewhat that, it goes well on my books, but they're still pretty shit though. Talking about shite, Saints Row. A new Saints Row has been released, and it was meant... is it meant to relaunch the franchise or something? I forgot the exact word, but they completely failed. Video game Saints Row receives poor reviews. Poor reviews is putting it nicely. The game is complete garbage. Yes, storyline, gameplay, everything, really. There's you can probably pick one or two good things about it, and that's it. The rest is a sea of negatives. Honestly, there are reviews online. You can check that out, but I thought I'd mention this because it's pretty funny. And I like the Saints Row titles. I played, I think, at least 2 of them. And I own another one that I haven't played yet. I think I got it with Plus, or maybe it was Xbox Gold, I'm not sure. And they were okay. I mean, the first 2 or 3 were actually pretty great as far as I'm concerned. Then it kind of went downhill a little bit, but they were still good. Still have a shit ton of fun. They still made some sense, you know, as much as Saints Row sense goes. This last one has absolutely no sense. But yeah, you can see by the design and colors what they were going for. Guess what? Didn't work. The people you were trying to appeal to don't actually buy video games. Funny that. And we can check here on Metacritic. This is one of the versions, that's the PS5 version, but they're all about that, 62 to 3.0. I think one of the platforms has got 66 from the critics and a 2.6 from the users. So it's all about this. It's garbage. Nobody likes them, including the critics, which I'm kind of amazed. But the game was so bad that even the critics had no option but to say, sorry, but this is shit. Some of them went as far as saying it's average or whatever. No, it is below average, but they got to keep their jobs, and they got to keep getting those review copies and stuff like that, so that they can't completely burn the bridges and be honest as you think they will be if they could. So it is what it is. It's trash all around. And from trash to more trash, Madden 23 is so bad even NFL pros are dragging it. And this is from Kotaku. They don't tend to do bad articles about specific games because, again, they need their review copies and all that shite. It's just another copy and paste from EA and their sports titles. This is what they've been doing for many, many years now. They keep on doing it, and they keep selling money. They keep, filling up the bank. We can criticize as much, but unless we pay with, we make them suffer by not using our wallets. Excuse me, my throat is going. They're just gonna keep doing it because they're bringing the money with minimum development. They're bringing in millions, billions even in some titles. So of course they're gonna keep doing it. There's so many things, so many bugs with this game. Check out some videos on YouTube, some compilations. It's just so funny how broken the game is. And they even have, if I remember correctly, they have one of the screenshots in the game, or one of the advertisement boards in game had an advertisement from something that happened 5 years ago. So what does that tell you? That obviously for 5 years they haven't even worked on that bloody thing on the game. It's been copy and paste for 5 years. And just like those specific assets, there are many assets in the game that have just been copy and paste. The odd thing gets reworked and changed. But even the bugs, some of the bugs have been there for 2 to 3 years at the minimum from the posts that I've seen. At release they were there, they got fixed later on, but then if they got fixed later on, how do you then release a game a year later and 2 years later and 3 years later that still has the same bug at release? That makes no fucking sense. Well, it makes EA sense, that's what it does. Anyway, we're moving on because it is EA. And we go on to another bit of a going downhill title. Not sure how much further down it can go. Halo Infinite. Oh boy. So split screen has been cancelled. This is actually the reason I was waiting to buy the single player game. I've got the multiplayer because it was free. And it's quite fun, but it doesn't have content. Not enough content anyway. The season pass and XP is all bullshit. There is some work coming to it, some match XP being added or whatever, something that should have been there from the beginning. But the season is being delayed. It's going to be running for about 10 months. I mean, on a live service, where do you see that? But either way, that's not the focus of this video, of this specific article at least. As the split screen that I myself wanted to get because I wanted to play it with my mate, like we did the Master Chief Collection. Couldn't do Halo 5 because again split screen wasn't there, and they were working on it for Infinite. In fact, 343 said he would never going to release a game again without a split screen from launch because it's such a core feature for our fans. Guess what they did? It wasn't there at release, even though release got delayed by a year, and it wasn't there several months after release, the delayed release I mean, and now they're cancelling it altogether. They're just full of shit. That studio doesn't know what the hell they're doing. I'm amazed they're still working on Halo. I don't know why that studio still has Halo. Give them something that maybe they enjoy doing and are more suited for. That's what I would say. But give the Halo franchise to somebody else. Hopefully someone with experience on shooters. Something like that. I think it will be helpful. Not make the same mistake as they did with 343, which was a studio put together to carry the Halo name. After Bungie gone elsewhere. Whatever the story was back then. So yeah, Halo is going... I mean, there's so many people pissed off with Halo. It's hard to... I mean, including myself. It's hard to put words to it, but this is just another nail in the coffin, I would say. They are releasing the Forge for Halo Infinite, so the fans can actually make some ups and stuff like that. That might salvage the game. That might, but I think the game is so far gone now that I'm not sure that's possible. I think they'll have to put a lot of investment, which I don't see that happening, a lot of resources and talent, which doesn't seem to exist, to get this game going. There are some changes coming or happening as we speak within 343, some restructuring going on, which maybe that's what's needed. I just hope that it isn't too late. Because I do like Halo Infinite, it's got great gameplay, but it lacks content, it lacks rewarding players to play. Yes, I understand the multiplayer is free to play, so you gotta make money somehow, but locking most of the, I forgot the name, the cosmetics that you get for your armor behind the battle pass, and it being so hard to get. Okay, this season lasts 10 months, so people got no reason not to do the battle pass. Hell, even I will go higher than I normally would, and I only play every few weeks because it's going to be such a long season. But that's stupid. The season should not be that long, and you should get better rewards. If you want to keep players engaged, you need to reward them and you need to give them content. None of those are there. The core game is there, but there's only so much that you can get out of it. And certainly 1 or 2 years is probably more than you'd expect a player to stick around with just the core and the core game, the fundamentals. Well, we'll see what happened on that one. And we go on to another disaster. And this one is quite funny because the game is called Babylon's Fall. And within a year of release, it has fallen. Yeah, that actually feels quite bad to say. Because people bought this game. This was released, in my opinion, a mistake that it was released. But I was going on to the actual price. It was released as, I think, a $60 game, so a full price game effectively. And it was broken from the beginning. Which I don't think this game should have been released like that. The microtransactions were a piss take. A lot of people got pissed off with that. The content was crap, the gameplay was crap, the game was just all around broken and in pretty bad shape. But they still released it for money, and then they said to players, oh yeah, I know reviews are bad and we're losing players. I mean, the game released on Steam to, I think, 1.1 thousand players. I mean, 1,000 players on a game release from Square Enix and Platinum Games at this day and age. I mean, indie titles get those numbers. It's it's mad. And yeah, after promising to players that they will keep supporting the game, as these companies say every time, because they don't want the players to bleed out even faster when things are going downhill. So they always say, yeah, we're gonna support it, we're gonna be here, blah blah blah, corporate bullshit. And of course they're shutting it down. The game was released in March 2022 and is going to be shut down in February 2023. What bullshit is this? People paid for this game. And I'm not even, like, people bought stuff in microtransactions for sure, but even the people that just bought the game hoping that it was a playable game, I mean, it was kind of playable, I guess, that money goes to nothing. I think we need governments to step in, because obviously the industry cannot regulate itself. And do something about this shit that keeps on happening. You're taking money from players. You need to provide, what they pay for. And this happens time and time again, and not just with releases, with games being shut down, content being taken away that players have paid for. Because you're buying a digital license. There are no laws on that shit. These companies can do whatever. They can tell you something today and cancel it tomorrow. And you've got no say about it. God, it pisses me off. It's so frustrating as well. So yeah, look at that. 46 from critics, 1.4 from users. This is one of the worst games reviewed ever. And it's shit. It's total trash. And you know what my opinion would have been? Okay, your game should never have been released in the first place, should maybe never even have been put into development. But since you went that far, release it for free. Just release it free to play. And maybe if you make money in microtransactions, that is worth investing in fixing the game that obviously you didn't manage to do before you release it, which in itself is a piss take. They should be taken to court and just like, no, your game was broken, you're charging people money for it, fuck off, give everybody refunds, go and work on something else. Don't do this again, or the company gets disbanded. Oh God, it pisses me off. The other thing that they didn't even try to do is, after releasing the game and saying that players are gone, we're losing players, we can't fix the game, we can't bring anybody back to the game, instead of just shutting down, announcing the shutdown like they did, go free to play. Maybe do 6 months free to play. See what happens. Maybe some players come in and try the game, while you still work on some development and fixing major bugs, so at least the people that come to the game trying it out, because it is free to play, people will inevitably try it, they don't go away. Because it's like, oh, there's not much here, microtransactions are a bit crap, but there's, I'm having some fun, I'll stick around for a bit. And this happens with a lot of games. Players stick around. But no, they didn't even try that. Yes, maybe it will still have failed, and you will have pissed off the people that originally paid 60 quid for the game or whatever, that now other people getting for free. This has happened with previous titles, so that will not be a great look. In my opinion, however, that will be better than just killing the game altogether, because now those people that paid the 60 quid when the game came out, they're not going to have a game anyway. Because this is a live service. There's some single player sort on it, but it's attached to the live service, so everything is going offline. How, wouldn't that be better? I think it will be. And yes, if 6 months the game is still shit, players that came in are leaving, then you shut it down. At least you gave it a fair chance. And I don't think this game ever had a fair chance from the beginning. From some things that we've heard from the development team, which may be true, maybe not, to knowing how Square Enix has operated for the past few years, I think there's a lot that went wrong there from the beginning. Which is one of the reasons why I say this game should never have been put in development, should never have been released. I don't like to see projects cancelled, but sometimes some projects have to be cancelled. And perhaps this was one of them. To the people that actually bought the game and are playing it, well, make the most of it for the next few months before it goes forever. This will be, as you guys know, I'm a fan of game preservation, and this pisses me off. Even though there's not much here to be preserved, they did charge people money. People did buy a product that they will no longer have access to. That can't be. That can't be. Let's move on from here, rambled enough. CD Projekt Red and their infamous Cyberpunk 2077. Yes, this game is also coming to an end of the sorts, okay, not like Babylon's Fall. In a sense that development is pretty much going to be done once the next expansion and the only expansion comes out. Phantom Liberty has been announced. I mean, we've all knew it was in the works, maybe not what it was called, and the area that it was going to be, the area of the map that it was going to be focused on, though most people that play the game could pretty much guess what it was going to be. It is a bit sad, but at least we will get an expansion. There will be some minor content here and there coming out. They're not ceasing development or work on this game altogether, but that will be the only expansion, as they will go on to focus maybe another Cyberpunk game, certainly a new Witcher game, which I suspect will be the next one from CD Projekt Red, and the team will be mobilized there. Recently in interviews, they strongly hinted that there will be a follow-up to Cyberpunk, which also goes hand in hand with what CD Projekt Red has said in previous years, or in recent years, that they want to work in multiple titles at the same time, and they have expanded to that effect. So cool, yeah, pretty cool. The downside of, well, one of the downsides is we're only going to get one expansion, but the other downside is for people on last gen PS4 and Xbox One, they will not be getting the expansion, and a lot of the content, as pretty much everything is stalled for those generations. They will not focus on more stuff for them. Obviously, if there are major bugs and things like that, they will still work on it, on fixes, but the focus will be on obviously PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X, which is okay. Maybe they should never have released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, many will argue. Personally, I think they just did not optimize the game, and if you didn't think the game was going to run properly, then yes, don't release it there. If you're going to release it there, make sure it works. And they've paid for the game and release them the content, but again, the expansion will be paid. So PS4 and Xbox One players won't really be paying for the content, so they won't get it. There is a bright side to that. Cyberpunk, or rather CD Projekt Red, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, there is a free path to upgrade for current gen. Obviously, that means people still have to get the money to get the current gen console. But if they can do that, and if they can find one, which, as I can attest, is still pretty damn difficult in 2022, then they can just get the new version and then buy the expansion there. or the current version, and buy the expansion on that console. So that's okay. That's good. And if they can't do that, they can still play with the core game, play the core game on PS4 and Xbox One. It's not the worst thing ever. Yeah, I do feel sorry for the players stuck on those consoles, but it's not too bad. It's not like going back to Halo Infinite, which, as it said on the title and I didn't mention, they canceled the split screen co-op, but that is actually in a game that actually does work with, I play and managed to glitch that, improve that it works. It is there. It worked on Xbox Series X, but maybe it doesn't work on last generation. And one of the things with Halo Infinite is it was going to be the same, and it is kind of a mantra, I don't know if it's the right word, on Microsoft at the moment. Its titles work the same on both consoles, on both generations, which at some point you gotta give that up. And if a feature like this works, you can make it work on Xbox Series X, but you can't quite make it work on Xbox One, then just don't release it on a One, release it on a Series X. At least some people can have that feature, that want that feature, and can play it. So in that sense, I agree and disagree depending on the case. But it is what it is. It's older hardware. If it doesn't work there, but you can make it work on a new hardware, then release it on a new hardware. It's better to have it somewhere than not have it at all. That's my read, at least on these specific cases. But anyway, that is all for today. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on another one of these, maybe in a few months again. But there will be other video game stuff on the channel for sure. Thank you all, and we will see you on the next one.